Am I ever excited to talk about this? Blood of Zeus caught my eye with a trailer a couple months ago, and now that I've finally caught up and watched the full season, I can actually say that this is one of my favorite TV shows I've ever seen. I'm not kidding. This is Blood of Zeus. Don't go away. So yeah, I've had my eye on this show for quite a while, and it was because of the trailer. It's a great trailer.
As the last Titan fell, he swore a curse on the god.
And in 2021, where every animated show is CGI, I was impressed right away because I could tell it was hand-drawn.
Are true. An army from the east descends upon us. This enemy is unlike any.
And as I said in the intro, this really is one of my favorite shows I've ever seen, but that doesn't mean it doesn't come without flaws. Let's start with the main character, Heron. He's kind of basic, a little bland, not spicy. He is the chosen one in this chosen one story. He's the son of Zeus, hence the title. That's it. Yeah, he doesn't really have any other major character traits. Alexia, the badass Amazonian woman, is the badass Amazonian woman. And, well, actually, she sort of maybe has a fling with Heron, but it's not really concrete, so I don't count that. Other on-Earth people include Seraphim, who, okay, actually, he is a really good sub-villain. He has a legit story and a good reason why, well, not really a good reason, but a legit reason why he's doing what he's doing. A few episodes in, we finally get our comic relief characters in Kofi or Kofi and Evios or Vios. It's one of those two. I say the show is in a dire situation for comic relief characters because it's serious 100% of the time. Like, there's no relaxed situation. There's no part where maybe Heron is talking to Alexia and it's actually calm. Like, there's always something going on. It's not such a bad thing, but it's nice to have a couple guys who can make a joke once in a while.
If I die, it's your fault, and I am coming back to haunt you.
Another flaw is that even though the animations are absolutely superb, there are a few scenes where it just seems a little rigid. And the final flaw that I believe is in the show is that in Blood of Zeus, there's so cliche moments that are just straight up cheesy. There's a moment where Heron is gonna die, but he pierces the scepter through himself into Seraphim, killing Seraphim because he's the son of Zeus, so Heron doesn't die, Seraphim does. And it's like shows the replay 3 times slow-mo, and it's like, okay, that was pretty cheesy. I won't get into other cheesy moments that there were in the series. There was definitely more than one, but I would rather talk about the good on the show. Let's start with the animations. Yes, very rarely there are some janked ones, a little rigid, but they're so good, ridiculously good. The fact that it's hand-drawn and the style of it just sets it apart from other shows in my opinion. The design choices are incredible for every character or weapon. It's so good. Seraphim's scepter, it looks and sounds amazing. If I didn't know that these were actual gods on the TV show, and I saw them, I'd be like, yo, what are these gods? Like, when Helios is riding around with his flaming chariot, manned by his 2 flaming horses in battle, flying around, it's honestly just jaw-dropping. Every character design, from small characters to the gods, is really impressive. I mean, one of my favorites is just straight up Poseidon. I don't know why he doesn't get that much screen time. Now let's talk fight scenes, because there's a lot of them, and the final episode is pretty much one big fight scene. And the final fight scene is the final nail in the coffin that solidified my idea of my thoughts and opinions on this show, which are very high, because the final episode is just one big ass boss fight, like one side against the other, and it's something I've always wanted to see. Simply put, the ending fight scene is the best of the best doing their best against the best. Hera resurrected the Titans to fight Zeus, and this really is a fight of epic proportions. This is the final fight I've always wanted to see, and honestly, wow. Hats off to anyone who is involved in this thing, from the design choices to the fight sequences, how it was paced. Everything was just like, I couldn't even just begin to describe it. Now, if you've watched even just one episode of Blood of Zeus, you'll realize how much of a character the music is. Most shows don't put too much thought into the soundtrack. If you're lucky, even once in a while a show will have a great music baked into the story. But The Blood of Zeus has its music so prominent in so many scenes, sometimes it's almost too much. But the majority of the time, it's in your face, loud, and it's great. So those were pretty much most of the larger notes I wanted to hit on, but I want to talk about some of the smaller things that I kind of maybe mentioned, but maybe didn't really get into. Let's talk Seraphim's Scepter. It's one of the coolest weapons I've ever seen. Like, I'm talking right up there with the Ghost Gun from Hexen from Nintendo 64. It looks amazing, and almost more importantly, it sounds amazing. Speaking of weapons that Seraphim wields, there's a sword out there, a legit sword that you will realize how OP it sounds when I describe it to you, that when forged by Heron, okay, not Seraphim, Heron forged it, and it could cut through anything. I was like, okay, how far will this go? And Zeus explains, not even the god's armor could block it. But said blade doesn't really play a huge factor in anything, very surprisingly, after you hear the fact that it could be blocked by nothing. And honestly, if that sword wasn't even forged in the first place, I wouldn't have even noticed, because it doesn't play any role whatsoever. My last note here that I wanted to speak on is how awesome any scene is when Zeus starts lighting it up. Like, when Zeus starts throwing bolts down, I legitimately start jumping out of my seat. Like, straight up out of my seat. So overall, this isn't really the most perfect show, but it's like a guilty pleasure to me. This really is one of my most favorite shows I've watched in a long time, and that's why, even with some of the flaws, and it's not the most impressive story writing I've ever seen, it's a 4.5 out of 5 for me. At this point, Season 2 has been confirmed and in the works, which is surprising because it's Netflix. I still want justice for the Dark Crystal, please. Really, for the small amount of flaws that Season 1 had, if Season 2 could be a couple or maybe 3 or 4 more episodes long, I feel like those could all be ironed out. Season 1 was only 8 episodes long that were 30 minutes. You really didn't get a lot of juice time there. Either way, if Season 2 is the same length or longer or shorter, I'll be there waiting the entire time, because I can't wait. So that's it. Blood of Zeus, done. The Titans, for now, have fallen. Again, maybe, hopefully, I kind of actually hope they'll be resurrected because they're really cool. Any scene with them in is epic, and really thinking about it, that's how I would describe the show. It's a show of, it's just epic. Like, it's not smart, it's not creative, it's epic, and that's really how I see the show. Hopefully Season 2 is just as good, but you'll never know. For now, I'm your host, Saber Planet Entertainment, and I hope you enjoyed this review. Peace.
No army has ever taken Olympus. And no army will!
Heyo, if you stuck around this far, you're probably here for the random Easter egg soundtrack I put in at the end of every video. While you listen, if you like, click the like button down below and subscribe if you want to see future content. Any support helps tremendously more than you'd ever believe. And if you're super dedicated, you can buy me a coffee. Link in the description. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. So hopefully enjoy the video, and yeah, peace.